Welcome back to Boom and Bust. I'm your host, Tony Clement, discussing with Richard Shimooka. He's a senior fellow at the Macdonald-Laurier Institute. Richard, let me put this to you. You know, we're talking about increases in defense spending, national security, etc. A lot of Canadians don't seem to care about that a whole lot, although there was a recent poll that I saw that indicated that Canadians do want us to live up to the NATO commitments. So who's correct? Is this a don't care or we do kind of care? How do you see the Canadian public attitude towards defense spending and living up to these commitments?
So there's a couple ways of cutting it. And I think it's interesting to watch how government messaging works on this area. I think various governments, maybe you could probably talk a bit about the one you were in before, but certainly I think this government that's currently in power has been very clear about communicating that Canada is a valued partner, that we are, providing for security among all our nations, that we're good soldiers, so to speak, in the international community among our allies. And anybody who's been watching sort of defense over the past 5 years or 6 years has known that our allies are actually not seeing that. Going back to 2015-14, they had the Obama administration really pushing the Trudeau government hard to provide units to Eastern Europe to help secure it against a potential Russian aggression. So this messaging in Canada has been effective. I think many governments have sort of said, we're here, we're providing. I would argue in Afghanistan, clearly we were a valued partner. We were really being effective and there. But since then, we've kind of trailed off. And the discrepancy between how our allies view what we do and how the Canadian public views or are being told what we do has kind of grown. And I think just past couple of weeks here, when you had the leaks and Discord, really put a fine point on that, where they said, our allies said, no, this is not acceptable. This is clearly, you are not providing this. And as a result, you need to do more. And now the Canadian public sees that. And I think that has sort of pushed a lot of people to say, oh, no, we should be meeting these requirements. And that this situation isn't acceptable. I thought we were doing enough. And no, that's not been the case. So I think that kind of both can be true to your original question that Canadians want to provide more. They just didn't realize they weren't to some degree. And on top of that, it's also the cost of it. And when we get to the actual, what is it going to require to actually do this? And that's the other question that has to drop.
Yeah, because that's the guns or butter age-old debate, right? And
yes.
To actually have it as a line item in the budget means that maybe something else doesn't make it into the national budget. That's your point?
Absolutely. And the old saw on this is that, between guns and dialysis machines, because that's, it's healthcare or aircraft, right? The thing is that we've so chronically underspent, and the other side of it is that this is tied to national prosperity, right? Canada really accrues all the benefits of this free international system where international trade is such a core part of this country's sort of economic prosperity. And when we aren't seen to be pulling our weight, countries become much less interested in cutting trade deals with us. Right. And there's real sort of the prestige that comes with this. Actually, it translates to actual economic power. And if we don't spend on it, then it will eventually cost us, actual dollars going forward, which is how we sort of fund sort of national programs and whatnot.
Yeah, I mean, we've been kind of a free rider, because we are under this U.S. umbrella, NORAD, and so on. So that's we've been living almost a lie in terms of contributing to our national security.
Absolutely. I think that when a lot of these states that actually are on the front line, let's say Japan or South Korea, they want more Canada, helping to provide security. And when we want to sort of get preferential access to their markets, they become less interested in when they see, well, you're actually not doing anything for the security, and yet you say to be a good ally, right? It's that the discrepancy between what we profess to be and what we actually provide, and then using that to sort of claim, well, we should all be part of this good, rules-based order, becomes really apparent, and that's actually really problematic in this way. So I think that yes, absolutely, we have to fund sort of national programs, domestically, but we have to be aware that we live one of the core reasons why we're able to do that is because we are sort of good global citizen. And if we're not going to do that, then that prosperity might not be there.
Richard Shimooka, we're out of time, but very interesting discussion. Thanks for coming on the program.
Thanks for having me.